So we've been talking a lot about the Nintendo Switch 2, all the problems that it's encountered so far, and one of the games that has been said to be part of the disaster is Mario Kart World. It's adding fuel to the fire, the game is getting hate, the console is getting hate, and we have to talk about why. So this is the new Mario Kart game. It's priced at 80 United States dollars. A lot of money. It is expensive, and there's really no reason for it to be $80, okay? When I look at this game, it doesn't look new. It doesn't feel new. I look at this game and I feel nothing. It doesn't feel like, oh, it's like, oh, this is something new. It's just slop. It's remake slop. I'm sorry. It just is. You can say it's not remake, like it's a new installation in the series. I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this new stuff being packaged as if it's actually something new. Like it's new as in it's just coming out, but it's may as well have been out for 20 years. And maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I'm cynical. I really expect more from Nintendo. I just do. And for $80, are we dead ass? Mario Kart is overrated and has been for a while. Nintendo is not innovating. They are not making new products. They are not actually designing things for gamers. And I heard this being said, and I think it's so true. Nintendo is now being run by a businessman and not a gamer. And so I think that that's a big part of why we're getting what we're getting, if that makes sense. Why are we still talking about the Nintendo stuff? Because it keeps getting worse. I keep learning about it. I see more and more. The industry standard for a video game, even with inflation, cannot be $80. It just can't be. And it can't be $80 for a Mario Kart game. I don't care. People want to say that, those boycotting Nintendo are like, grasping at straws and stuff. And those people are just so disconnected from reality. It's insane. It really is insane. Shareholders calling the shots? Probably, because it's not people who actually care and are playing these that are calling the shots. So that's a pretty good guess. Mario Kart World, the sad reality.
Nintendo is about to taint their most valuable franchise. How do you feel about...
Yeah, Mario Kart, by the way, is like their second most valuable franchise. Like all the Mario stuff is the #1 IP, but it's like the Super Mario Brothers series, like the platformers that are #1. Mario Kart, #2.
About Mario Kart? They're pretty good, right? Always fun. But what if we took that idea of fun and thinly spread it out in an empty world? I know this game isn't out yet, but let me tell you something. I don't need this game to be out for me to see how hollow it is. And neither does Nintendo apparently, because they just had a 15-minute direct about nothing. So let's just see here. What is it that Nintendo wants us to pay $80 for? Let's break it down. For the first time in...
That's the problem as well. When you put a price tag on something, and that price tag is so jaw-dropping and egregious, it's already setting expectations to a level where they can't be met. You're not going to meet expectations for another game that you've already made before, and you've just increased the price. That's not possible. Like, you just can't do that. No one's going to be like, holy shit, it's a real bang for your buck. It's not.
In the series, all the...
Nintendo needs to die like Sega did and make games for multi-platforms. Like, dude, at a certain point, I'm not crazy for looking at this and being completely just not into it.
Tracks are connected in one giant world for you to drive around in. Now, I'm not going to be negative just for the sake of being negative, but let's just open our minds for...
But it's not being negative for the sake of being negative. Like, maybe my brain has been fried because I overlap this with the broader trends in the entertainment industry, but I just feel like I'm getting... I feel like if I'm to envision myself as consumers as a group, we've been getting mistreated for the past few years, and this is just another way in which we've been getting mistreated. I don't get it, dude. I don't get why people and companies expect us to just enjoy the same shit every single day. Pizza's yummy. Mario Kart's good. I'm not going to eat pizza every night, and I'm not going to buy Mario Kart every time it's slightly, more refined and more polished for the new system. And if you think that that's true, you're a sucker. And if you do, you're also a sucker. Like, if you end up buying it, you're just what they... You are Nintendo's fucking pay pig. So while you're at it, while you're handing them your money, you may as well take off your fucking pants and get down there and kiss their feet. Kiss Doug Bowser's feet and then shine his bald head. Because clearly, you're just gonna buy any trough-fed slop that they make.
For a second, and remember why we play these games. And I want it to be clear that these are my opinions. If you think everything shown of the game thus far looks like it was made by God himself, by all means, leave me a death threat in the comments below. I'm not telling you how to react to this game, I'm giving you my reaction to this game. So one giant world to drive around in. What do you do in this giant world? Well, very little. The annoying prick narrator explains the implementation of missions. Yes, for the first time since Mario Kart DS, missions are back, and you have to drive around until you find them. I don't like the idea of that. I have no interest in driving around until I find fun things to do. The reason that works in Zelda and any other open world game is because there's always something on screen to check out, and exploration is the foundation of those games' structure. This is fucking Mario Kart. Go find these missions and do them, and you can find collectibles, Doesn't that just sound like a blast? That's really why I play these games. Not for the chaos and competition, but to do circles in the middle of a plane because I keep missing a ramp. This is like for the people who find the stunt jumps in GTA to be—
yeah, I mean, who is this even for?
That just sound like a blast? That's really why I play these games. Not for the chaos and competition, but to do circles in the middle of a plane because I keep missing a ramp.
Bro.
This is like for the people who find the stunt jumps in GTA to be fun. If this looks fun to you, boy did Nintendo just make the greatest thing you've ever seen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's literally, this is just for Nintendo fans. This is for people who are you could jiggle keys at them and they'd be like, whoa, keys jiggling. I mean, I feel like people would have rather buy the Switch 1. I also enjoyed the Wii U being able to have a Wii, and also the Wii U, at least what they could do is make a new UI and have Switch 1 as a side mode. No idea what you just said, to keep it a buck with you, bro. Anyway, I just feel like, new does not equal good. And new does also, I guess, not even equal new at this point. And when it's neither, when it's not good, and it's not really even new, and it's $80, how do you expect people to not be angry?
GTA to be fun. If this looks fun to you, boy did Nintendo just make the greatest thing you've ever seen. I play these games for a lot of reasons, but at the core, for the past 30 years, these games have been loved for the frantic atmosphere that comes with every race. Now let's take a look at these races. The big new thing as far as on the track goes is the ability to wall ride and rail grind. Okay, cool, sounds good. And of course you have the rewind ability. Wait, what? The ability to rewind the race for yourself, but everyone else keeps going. This is like the dumbest shit, right? First of all, let it be noted that this ability is only available in free roam or when racing solo. So any strategy you could have using this ability becomes—
What, like, drugs were they doing when they made this? I feel like there's, with Nintendo, the obligation to add new things, and so they just add new things because they have to add new things, and it's just like, it's busy work. It's like, I added this, okay, yeah, sure, you added something.
becomes irrelevant.
It's more. And more does not mean better. Again, they're missing these very fundamental points.
It's just sad. Any of the soul Mario Kart has had is just being turned into this weird, over-forgiving clusterfuck of ideas. I feel like missing a jump is part of the race, right? Knowing that a shortcut is your only chance at keeping first place means pulling off that jump is all the more exciting and rewarding. So the idea of playing a cup and winning because rewinding before a jump is an infinitely better way of staying in the race over Lakitu picking you up and putting you down is just such a lame mechanic. A giant chunk of what makes any of this shit fun is now replaced with easy baby ability to never lose. In general, these easygoing modes—
Why would they ever add that? Why would they add that shit in the game? I'm sure there's a feature where you can turn it off,
picking
but
you up and putting you down is just such a lame mechanic.
Why have a feature that just exists to be a setting that you turn off?
A giant chunk of what makes any of this shit fun is now replaced with easy baby ability to never lose. In general, these easygoing modes can exist, sure, I get that. I can see how a dumb kid just keeps missing a jump over and over and over again and just wants to move on and see another level.
But Lakitu already exists. He already picks you up when you fell and puts you back on the track. So I'm trying to understand, at what point are we wrapping kids in fucking bubble wrap and making sure they never even breathe? Like, is this for like people who wear masks indoors or something? I'm so confused.
No, a dumb kid just keeps—
Like, I understand if you're playing Super Mario, the platformer, because that's more complicated and you may need it, like if you're 8 years old, you need some kind of guidance to progress through the game and play the content you paid for, your mommy paid for. But it's in Mario Kart, you fall in the pit, you just get picked up. So why does this exist?
Keeps missing a jump over and over and over again and just wants to move on and see another level. But in this case, it's like, why are you even playing this then? Races by nature are competitive. The point of a race is the competition. So why not give the player every option under the sun to not only undo their mistakes, but also beat the game that way? If your solution to this is just don't use it, you're missing the point. I'll forget about the assisted steering, but the rewind is a major mechanic baked into the game. Why do I, as the player, have to avoid using a mechanic?
This is their trailer. This is what they're advertising to people. When you advertise, you're going to show the highlights and the key features of your product that you think will bring in consumers. This is terrible.
In order to make the game more fun for myself. That makes no sense. It's like if you were going to climb Mount Everest and someone offers you a helicopter ride to the top and you just go, no thanks, a freezing 2-month hike for me, please. How does it make sense to consciously avoid something that makes life so much easier? I already talked about graphics in my last video, but like, come on, look at this. This is the next generation. This is what's been cooking for 11 years. This is not a complaint about graphical power, but rather the lack of effort put into the aesthetic.
And this is what we're saying, like, there is no reason that—
This is not a complaint.
I mean, look at it. Like, here's the thing. At a certain point, the amount that you're able to make a game that has kind of a formula look better, there is a limit. Like, you can't make it more realistic and therefore better because that's just not what Mario Kart is. It's meant to be fantasy and stuff. And so when that happens, I think eventually you recognize that you've milked a franchise for enough time to where you literally cannot fucking maximize it anymore. And then you make a new fucking franchise. You make a new IP. You innovate. You invent. You design. You turn on your brain. You be creative. You take risks. What's the risk? It's
graphical power, but rather the lack of effort put into the aesthetic. You can have a game with very limited graphical output, but still make it look stunning on the hardware it's running on. Pixel art is the lowest level of graphical intensity, and you can still make a pixelated game look incredible.
Yeah, Celeste
this
is
just
great.
A pathetic
Undertale is great. I think for even what they're doing,
joke. As if Nintendo wants
I just feel nothing.
you to gawk at this third-party lineup of 5-year-old games, but won't go a step beyond the bare minimum when it comes to their own first-party releases. The little improvement in texture detail that is in this game may be higher in resolution than Mario Kart 8, but it most certainly is not even scraping the standards of today, and doesn't even attempt to push the Switch 2 to its graphical limits and take
which you're paying more money for. And so I don't understand the point of upgrading a system to have hardware that processes a game at higher graphics if the graphics that you're processing it at look like they're from 2015.
Take advantage of what is truthfully a significant upgrade. It literally just is the absolute bare
Like, this is from what, 2011 or something?
minimum. I can't
You could flip them and you wouldn't be able to tell the
truthfully
difference.
a significant upgrade. It literally just is the absolute bare minimum. I
Yeah.
can't help but watch this footage and be disappointed when thinking back.
This is, let me draw a comparison because I think this will really put it into perspective, what I'm saying. Do you guys remember in Diary of a Wimpy Kid? It's the scene where Greg hands in his paper, and it's Roderick's paper. This is it.
100 years ago, I remember that assignment. Why write a new one when there's a perfectly good paper already written by your brother?
Why write a new one when there's a perfectly good one written by your brother? Why make a new IP where you push the boundaries of today when you can just do the same shit? Like, look.
We talk about how important it is to recycle. We don't mean turning in your brother's old papers.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm getting at. And anyway.
Back to how mind-blowing Mario Kart 8's graphical upgrade was. It very clearly took complete advantage of the Wii U's capabilities and was a confident slap in the face to consumers, letting you know that this is your next generation. This is what you're going to cough up $60 for. And now after Nintendo brags about the Switch 2's crazy power upgrade, they show us this. Like, this is anything impressive. Much less than it being unimpressive, it's just a sad waste of potential, and more importantly, lazy. So you get this muddy, foggy, plain, uninspired-looking pastel-y, as basic as it gets cartoony art style. This is your upgrade, and this time around, you're gonna pay $80 fucking for it. In Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe, the game runs at a silky smooth 60 frames per second, which, believe it or not, is something Nintendo games used to always do without question. But once you throw in more than 2 players, the frame rate noticeably gets kicked down to 30 FPS. Okay, whatever. I can believe that a Wii U and maybe even a Switch isn't capable of 60 FPS 4-player. Fair enough. But here we are, once again, and Nintendo proudly displays the frame rate going to complete shit the second that third player pops in.
At this point, bro, it's 2025. 30 FPS gaming for a game that is meant to be played with other people. This is a local co-op legendary game franchise, and we can't with 30 FPS? What a disgrace. And I mean this, what a disgrace. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful, you know? And every time I talk about Nintendo, I get comments and I get dislikes, and it's all people that are explaining away or disagreeing or something. Shut the fuck up for once and be wrong. Just be wrong. Just be wrong. You can be wrong.
Nintendo proudly displays the frame rate going...
You can admit that this is shit. You can. At a certain point, like, I'm looking at people that are disagreeing with me, and I'm just waiting for them to admit that, like, yeah, we can't really defend this. It's time to admit it. And I won't be mad. I won't hold it over your head, but you can admit it, dude. Like, when do people look at this shit and then eventually they're like, yeah, you know, maybe it's not worth $80. Maybe this is kind of unacceptable and disgraceful for Nintendo to, market this to us.
Going to complete shit the second that third player pops in. Just right there for you to see in the direct. Here we are 11 years since then in the year 2025, and here's what you got. Now, I am aware that last generation's consoles weren't capable of running most racing games at 60 FPS with 3 or more players either, but these games very, very clearly are much more graphically demanding. And when every dick writer on Twitter won't shut up about the Switch 2 being more powerful than a PS4 or Xbox One, It's pretty fucking sad to see a game so unimpressive looking run like this in the year 2025. Nintendo just couldn't be fucked to optimize their game any further. Why not? Because you'll buy it anyway. Oh, and that'll be...
That's the point, is I'm tired of these people who will buy it anyway talking to me in the comments. Just keep your goddamn mouth shut. Zip it, lock it, put it in your pocket. You know what you need to do? Instead of writing a comment, do me a favor, and I mean this, okay? Go on eBay, get a used Xbox One, and then just play Elden Ring. Just play Elden Ring, and then just... I don't want to hear it. Play Elden Ring, get a used Xbox, and then get Elden Ring. The total amount, I don't know, you could probably get that all for $300, and then just shut up. That $300 is half of the, what is it, $750 of this game plus the Switch 2. You are paying half the price to get even more. That's my point.
$80, by the way. A month and a half before release, and this is what's going to wow you. As far as tracks go, it looks like this is what we get. That's not a whole lot. Of what we know of this game, there are at least 7 cups and 29 courses. I think it's fair to assume that the final game will have at least 8 cups and 32 courses standard, but even then, that's just an assumption. And as we can see, some of these tracks are reused. There's a pretty old standard.
Nice.
This game comes out in a month and a half. As a consumer, you can only go in expecting what is explicitly shown to you by their own staff. If Nintendo is trying to convince us that this is an $80 value, they're doing a pretty shit job. Why am I...
And they will integrate the same tactic of drip-feeding paid content into every big release. Yeah. I mean, this is sort of industry standard at this point, so Nintendo doesn't really get called out for it. But 100%, like, there's another thing where, you know, Nintendo is complicit in it. So even if everyone's on their bad behavior, they're still on their bad behavior. Like, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And yeah, I mean, you know, Ubisoft and EA, you know, being the absolute demons of you know, paid content, in-app purchases, you know, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Nintendo also does it too. Like, if you want to buy Smash, like, if you buy Smash, you're not even buying Smash, you're buying about 70% of Smash. And that's just like, how do I don't want to be that guy, but at a certain point there needs to be some sort of a law where you are very clearly told from the start what percent of the game you're actually getting. Because if you're paying $80 and then you have $20 of DLC to get the entire game and the code that you can get, then just say, yeah, you know, the total amount that you're going to get for this game is about 80%. Steam has that policy. I mean, look, Nintendo, they've been getting away with a lot of this sort of stuff. So that's my point as well. Yeah.
to believe.
And mind you, all the drip feeding in-app purchases and stuff, it's all overpriced as well. That's also ridiculous. Like, if Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is $60 and then one DLC character is $6 or $7, you're telling me one DLC character is worth 10% of the game? How does that make any sense? That mathematically doesn't compute. They do that on purpose because it's not proportional to how much content you're actually getting, but it seems like it's it's not that bad because it's only, oh, you paid 60, you may as well pay 6. It's just not how money works. It's not how percentages work. It's a scam.
That this is an $80 value. I'm not convinced by what seems to be less content than Mario Kart Super Circuit, nor am I convinced by a 15-minute presentation about shit we already knew. I don't know about you guys, but I hated Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's DLC. Nintendo charging you money for tracks they ported from their shitty mobile game. Tracks clearly not on the same graphical prowess as the original Wii U ones. New tracks that were built in the mobile game engine because it's cheaper than putting effort into another track that's as impressive looking as this. Shitty tour tracks that are obviously designed for the auto-steer gameplay of the mobile game, so you constantly have no clue where you're supposed to be going.
What?
And you got charged for this. Already paying $60 for a Wii U port from 2014, but we're still going to charge you more. How is it the Wii U's DLC look like this, but the Switches look like this? How does that work?
It's...
How is it the Wii U's DLC look like this, but the Switches look like this?
Oh my god. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible.
How does that work? So looking at this DLC look like this, but the Switches look like this. How does that work?
How does that work?
So looking at this...
Guys, they're a small indie game studio. They're a small indie game studio, guys. We need to cut them some slack. Everyone who is roasting me in the comments, I believe there's a little image I like. It's "Leave the multi-billion-dollar companies alone," and it's some fat grease guy, and he's got his Nintendo shirt on, and he's very upset that I would ever criticize these people, this company, for robbing us.
I can't help but wonder if most...
You will owe nothing and be happy. That's how Nintendo definitely sees the industry as. Yeah, no, I don't want to say predatory. I mean, it's business-wise, they do predatory shit. Like, they have predatory practices baked into their business. 100%.
of this game was designed with that cheap mobile engine.
I would say yes.
I'm sure this game will get DLC eventually, but don't expect anything anywhere close to this in visual.
And they're not alone in that. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's become very normalized that I think is predatory. Again, like, they're still doing it.
quality. Retro tracks return and are implemented into the map. That's cool. There are no retro cups, however. New tracks and retro tracks are all mixed together in the cups for the most part. Your Grand Prix is going to be a bit new and a bit old. And also,
For the first time, you'll need to drive yourself to the next course in Grand Prix.
how is that like a good thing? For the first time in the series, we found a way to turn the loading screen into boring, monotonous gameplay. All the
Dude.
fun of driving series, we found a
Bro.
way to turn the loading screen into boring, monotonous gameplay.
So it's just like each race, it just blends together.
All the fun of driving on a highway for 3 minutes.
And so, why would they include this?
I feel like this game is just boring, monotonous gameplay.
We made it so that our loading screen is just you driving there yourself. You're literally, you can get stuck in traffic.
All the fun of driving
What?
on a highway for 3 minutes. I feel like this game is just full of ideas.
Like, how is that content?
And that's it. As if anyone on the team could just throw an idea out there. and
You can now drive to the next race instead of being teleported there and having a cooling off period. Dude, come on. That can't be something good. That's not cool. That's not worth anything. This is part of the trailer. This is their marketing points. A team decided this would be the highlight to show you to buy it. This was literally tossed around a room of people and they voted, yeah, this is good. This will make people want to buy it. Oh my
the
god.
game directors didn't know how to turn them down.
What a joke.
What if you drove to all the courses? Wow, okay. And then you think about it, and it's like, that's not what I'm playing for. You just think about it for more than 5 seconds and ask yourself, why would I want to do that? You end a race.
Why would I, like, yeah, it's like, okay, yeah. Why? The entire addition of this to the game can be defeated with a simple why? Okay, yeah, cool. Why though?
About it for more than 5 seconds and ask yourself, why would I want to do that? You end a race, game loads, you start the next one. What about that didn't work?
It was like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what? I don't. What? This is retarded. This is retarded.
I get trying new things, but maybe they should make sense. Instead, you do one lap on a track.
Like, you take a break. Like, you're like, okay, it's loading. Let me go itch my balls. And then I come back. And then I have 5 seconds to itch my balls and scratch my ass. Oh, I have to drive to the next one? Like, what the fuck? I can drink my beer while the next game loads. There was no You didn't have to streamline the loading screen. It was perfectly fine.
Then go off-road and drive to the next
It was a good divider in between races.
one. The in-between driving counting as the first 2 laps of the next track. Good God. So basically, instead of just doing 3 laps of 4 courses, you play 1 lap on each, but also drive in between them. Ah, yes. Replace the actual gameplay of a track with the nothing gameplay of driving to the next one. Granted, you can disable this and change it back to the traditional 3 laps each with no driving in between, but it defaults to the first option. It's like
It's again, like, you're adding shit that's just going to be an off switch. Let's add a bunch of shit that everyone will just turn off and market it.
even the devs were iffy about this one.
I'm sick.
I don't understand this. It's not like a relaxing
No one
break
understands
because you're
this.
still racing. You don't just kick back and chill. People are still throwing items at you. So why continue the gameplay, but just somewhere else with either basic or no obstacles at all? Who thinks of this shit? Replace fun with nothing. I like the idea of nothing.
Replace fun with nothing. What a great thing. What a great company.
Tour.
This is
I think
awesome.
It sounds pretty interesting, but there's some shit I don't like about it. First of all, I don't understand the mentality of more racers equals better gameplay. At what point does it start to feel less personal with the other racers? Especially when you take into account
Just like IRL driving.
that these courses are
It's just literally IRL driving versus a test drive.
designed with 24 players in mind. So just limiting your game settings to fewer players isn't solving anything. Going from 8 to 12, that's not too crazy of a jump. But going from 12 to 24 is
Why?
literally game
Again, why? Why? This is too many people.
altering.
It's
It sounds
cancer.
and looks like there's just a lot of really wide open roads with nothing in them. I can see this working for Knockout Tour, and I think it seems fine in that context. But generally, I just don't see 24 racers necessarily being more fun. Especially when the majority of the roster is a bunch of meaningless characters no one's gonna use.
What the fuck is any of this? Just a hermit crab. And then some sort of like testicular infection or something. I see plushies of this stuff. I've seen a plushie of this guy. I've seen a plushie of this guy. No one's getting a plushie of Reggie Fils-Aimé's left nut.
I feel like having 8 main characters on a track allows you to be more engaged in the cup, and you start to keep track of who's your biggest problem, who's a pain in the ass, and who's sneaking up behind you. I really couldn't give two shits.
Like, you have beef with people. You have, like, little narratives. By the third race, it's you and Luigi neck and neck, and you've created a narrative in your head as to why you want to beat him because his grandfather, like, kidnapped your grandmother, and it's fun. It's personal. It's tight knit. Like, it feels, why 24? Because it's 24 and half of it's retarded. Half of it's complete crap. This section is crap. Crap. I mean, maybe the flip flopper. What's even his name? What's his name? Flip flopper? He's got the fucking lip injections. He's got the Kylie Jenner lips. You know, this guy is just like a Kardashian, okay? So we got a Kardashian here. We've got a frightened crab. What is he afraid of? He looked at the fucking price tag and that makes sense. You know, he belongs here. We've got now we've got this thing, and my camera fell. You know what? I'm with my camera on this one. Now we've got this thing, and you know, I'm not a genius, but I'm certainly not fond of a circle inside of a circle inside of a circle.
I feel like having 8 main characters on a track allows you to be more engaged in the.
Who's your favorite character? Who do you main? I main an anal bead. Yeah. I play as an anal bead. Oh, what? Really? Yeah. They have that? I guess. Yeah, they added it. I paid $20 on top of the $60 premium. Yeah, it's worth it. Oh, okay.
The cup, and you start to keep track of who's your biggest problem, who's a pain in the ass, and who's sneaking up behind you. I really couldn't give two shits if a fucking bee is in 17th place. But that's just my opinion. Knockout Tour looks cool, and the game compiles tracks for this mode into rallies instead of cups. I think this one will be interesting, but I can't help but be a bit concerned when the treehouse guy is just driving through courses with no one anywhere close to him for minutes at a time.
Yeah, you're both kind of out of the pack right now, but no, that's not a permanent state.
That just looks boring, like the opposite of the point. Before I whine like a bitch about this game's
you can just
roster,
drive
I just
IRL.
need to say this. The people Nintendo gets to do their voices nowadays are the most annoying sounding assholes on the planet.
What?
These extended races take you from one end of the world to the other. You reach places like this. Ah, so close. Hey, there's a P-switch over there. Wait, who just passed me? Have a spirited showing at the ghostly movie theater.
Like, please shut the fuck up. I don't know if they understand how isolating it is to use people who sound like dildos with lungs to do these voiceovers, but if you want your entire
Alright, this is very nitpicky, but it's kind of fun to see him crash out.
audience to feel like 3-year-olds
I'm already mad, so I'm with him.
listening to a pre-K teacher,
And they sound bad, sure.
you're doing a fantastic job making them embarrassed to watch this shit.
Nice. That one's a winner.
I wanted to kill this guy. I almost switched to the Japanese thing because this guy was so fucking annoying. I wanted to blow my brains out.
Dude, make sure you guys subscribe to this guy. This guy's fucking awesome, dude. Bearman 3600, so funny.
This game's roster is just sad. I don't know.
Valid crash out.
Let's get everyone in the office to put in a name of a new character they want. You know what? Just screw it. Use all of them. Remember when unlocking characters was a big deal? Like how mind-blowing it was to see Rob or Petey show up in the roster? What is this shit? A goddamn fishbone.
This is garbage. No, it's literally, you see this inside of garbage. You open a garbage bag, you'll find this.
Are we just rolling the dice on the Mario
What the fuck?
wiki to get these? Who cares about any of these? Sure, as silly as it sounds to have a Stroll Stu drive a car, who's actually playing as him compared to previous newcomers? It's just not exciting at all. Like, the excitement is just not there. If you go through this Yoshi drive-thru thing, you get food. You eat the food, and you get a costume. Wow. Finally, the mechanic I've been waiting for.
Dude.
I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with adding a silly little clothing option in a game, but I can't help but roll my eyes when
That's
nothing
kinda
I've seen
cool.
up to this point has been impressive, and every new idea just seems like a useless
Yeah,
addition the devs came up with
That's cool. That's it. No caveat. That's a cool thing.
and have been wasting their time on instead of making actual meaningful content for a game that's been in
Little cultural appropriation. Still cool.
Patient
I mean,
for-
it is their own culture, right? They're Japanese. I think that's Japanese.
11 years. And you gotta love how each costume is its own slot in the character select menu. Who was the senior director who let this one slide? Don't forget about them accessories. Just $80? No. You would look like a fucking loser if you didn't buy the $20 plastic wheels for.
It never ends. It never ends, dude. You need the $20 wheel on top of the $650 system, on top of the game, on top of the DLC, on top of the the Temu camera. You're missing, sir. No. We see you walking out of the Nintendo store. Sir, you're missing the wheels. You need the wheel. Do I need the wheel? You need the wheel. The last thing you'd want is to be walking out and people, they catch you without the wheels. You have to have the wheels. You want to be that one retard who leaves the store without the wheels? No, you need the wheel. I think I'm all right. $20, by the way. This is no meme. This is not a joke. These are probably, like 50 cents to manufacture each. That's not a joke. It's just plastic. It's literally, you heat up plastic and then you mold it. That's it.
For the 4th generation in a row. Want to play with some friends? Don't forget several sets of our $90 controllers or that $50 camera.
Yeah, $50 camera, bro. I'm gonna crash out.
Don't loser.
These prices are fucking egregious.
$20 plastic.
$25 with tax. It's $30 for fucking plastic.
Want to play with some friends? Don't forget several sets of our $90 controllers.
You gotta buy all the dude. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say they think we're. Nintendo thinks we're a bunch of because why else would they do this? And my fucking camera fell. I'm crashing out, bro. I don't give a fuck anymore. This is so unacceptable. I'm just gonna say it, bro. What the fuck is this?
Controllers or that $50 camera. That $50 camera gives you the privilege of not only eating a hot dog for dinner, but also dying alone. Hook it up and see your friends' faces. I don't mind.
Like this is like $1,000, bro. This is like you're paying like $1,000 for all this shit, dude. $100 times four. It's like a fucking Bansky for all this shit, dude.
That $50 camera. That $50 camera gives you the privilege of not only eating a hot dog for dinner, but also dying alone. Hook it up and see your friends' faces. I don't mind this feature, but boy oh boy would Nintendo really like it if you bought that camera. Please buy that camera. It reminds me a lot of Star Fox 64 3D when you could see people's faces flying around, except that was free and made more sense in context. I don't care about this, but Nintendo really wishes I would. We learned that the camera can detect up to 4 faces at once, but I mean, no one's using this. I don't know how many groups of rich asshole friends exist that are all corny enough to use this, but it can't be many. I watch this gameplay from the Treehouse event and I think, wow, I wish I was holding the controller. But then I just keep watching and watching and I can't help but wonder, if I was holding the controller, what the fuck would I be doing? This looks like a long plain track with nothing in it. For every interesting asset, there's 3 minutes of empty roads. And then I look at previous games and there's always something exciting happening. The least memorable tracks in the series are those ones that just really have very little going on. Certainly there are moments that look exciting, and those moments make me want to pick up the game. But take into account all that doesn't excite me and surround this one moment where there was.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I thought was cool is the outfit changes, and this is it, bro. All this when you could just Discord VC. I mean, it's just so not worth it. I mean, it's just not. In no way is it worth it. I have Garfield card on my Xbox. Much better.
Of the most uninspired themes. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely a decent theme here and there, but nothing very detailed at all. I don't know if the devs realize that you can put obstacles on a road, but maybe they should play any previous game where there's always something to react to that's more than just a right turn. So much.
Whoever developed this game, just fire them. Put them out of the job. Let them end up homeless and on drugs. Like, this is, fuck these people. Fuck them. Seriously. It's buns, it's ass, it's terrible. If you developed this and you were okay with developing this, you're fucking terrible, dude. Like, you're so bad.
Much about this game is everything I hated about Mario Kart Tour. Tracks that get used multiple times, just with different paths. Given they feature some new areas on the map, it's the same place, same theme. Then there's times of just ignoring the road. You know, the only thing you're supposed to be following. Like, I don't get it. There needs to be structure in a race. And
yeah, they don't even look like they're having fun. They're like, am I still on the clock?
This doesn't hold a candle.
Anyway, yeah, that is the sad reality of Mario Kart World.